Good evening, Jasters, and welcome to tonight's live broadcast. Thank you all for joining us for a very important and heartfelt conversation. Before we begin, I want to take a moment to share an update with our viewers. One of our hosts has officially resigned from the podcast. We appreciate the time and energy and contributions she made to the show, and we wish her nothing but the best moving forward. The show will continue, and tonight's discussion reflects our commitment to bringing meaningful, impactful conversations to our community. Tonight, we are addressing an issue that affects families across the nation and right here in our own backyard. We are honored to be joined by a parent who has experienced an unimaginable loss, the tragic death of a daughter taken far too soon by gun violence. The courage in sharing their story reminds us of the human impact behind the headlines and statistics. We're also joined by a licensed clinical social worker who will help us navigate the emotional, psychological, and community wide effects of such a devastating experience. Together, we will explore grief, healing, mental health, and how families can find strength and support, especially with the Thanksgiving holiday approaching. This is a conversation about pain, but also about resilience, awareness, and community. We ask you all to listen with compassion, engage with respect, and allow this space to be one of understanding and support. Zeke, Sharon, how are you guys doing tonight?
Whew. Doing great, doing great. Glad to be here.
Good.
Anthony
Yes, Sharon, you're here.
I am here, and that's just wonderful. I love how you always do your introduction. It's so passionate and like Zeke said, phew, I was like, phew, but I'm great. How are you?
I'm doing fine. Now, I do want to advise people that we are having technical difficulties because I do see that our Miss Brown, the licensed kind of social worker, something has happened to her live. So I still see her. She may be here. She's back.
Okay.
Okay. So she's back on. So we're gonna get it started, get the show started. I think Zeke, you were talking about something last week about I think the lady was Sandra Massey. You were discussing Sandra Massey last week.
Yeah, I just wanted to kind of piggyback on that. I didn't had a don't want to say a whole lot about her
Right.
tonight. Had the tragedy to happen in my life, in my family
Oh,
last night. So I had a
oh,
death in the family also.
sorry to hear that.
Yes, yes. So, I drove on. I was like, I can't miss tonight. We gotta make this happen. Uh,
Yeah,
so, so pray for my family on that.
we
Uh,
will.
Another uh, 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 crazy death. You know what I'm saying, in the community for no reason. So, yeah.
Well,
Is
I
that
know
here
I
in El Dorado?
Excuse me.
Did that happen here in El Dorado?
Yes, on Western Road. Yes.
mm,
Oh my. Okay. Even though he asked you the address about Sandra, can we give you the floor at this moment so you can honor the person you're talking about?
yeah.
Yes, I like to honor brother Demarcus Cooper. Uh, of Arcadia, Louisiana. My brother-in-law
Okay.
is deceased on last night.
Oh my.
Yes, yes, so
Well,
yeah,
well, in connection with Mrs. With Ashley Bell, we'll dedicate this show to him as well.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah. So sorry to hear that, Zeke. We will definitely
Sorry.
keep you in our prayers and
please, thank
his family.
And I appreciate you doing the podcast, I mean, that just shows your dedication and your loyalty. And I wish I could give you a hug because I can see your pain.
you.
Yeah, and I can hear it.
Yeah.
Hear it. So we're not gonna stay on the Sandra Massey, but I do know. I just want to mention that her family had a $10 million settlement. They reached a $10 million settlement over her death due to police officer. I think the police officer is now being charged. I don't think he's been sentenced or anything like that, but they're still going through court proceedings. And that just to give you an update on that. And this happened back in 2024, February 17th of 20, February 17th of this year, that they reached a $10 million settlement. Her family did. So I just want to say that.
Wow.
Okay.
Wow.
Wow.
And so now we can introduce our first guest, and our first guest, we're going to introduce Mrs. Brown. Sharon, you can have the honors of doing that.
Hi. Greetings, everyone. Miss Pamitra Brown is a dear friend of mine from Memphis, Tennessee. Miss Brown, when I met Miss Brown, was during Natural Cutie. She was doing a Natural Cutie contest, and I actually was the oldest member of the Natural. But she brought out the best in me and the best of a lot of us. I knew her mom before her, and so she's an awesome sisterhood that I adore being around. We haven't been in touch, but we've been in touch, and that's what I like about it, because no matter where or how far we went from one another or how far I've been, she's always still around to see me. Pam, how are you? I don't want to talk much about introducing you, besides how I personally know you, because I want to.
Okay. Okay. Listen, I always hold my breath and see what the people gonna say. What the people gonna say. So I was like, let me see what a free A is going to say. But thank you. Definitely has been a pleasure being in community with you. Always a joy. To share space with you. I always enjoy to share space with you. And even under these circumstances and these tough conversations, a lot of people shy away from those conversations. I am not a person, due to, my profession, I don't shy away from tough conversations, whether it be just around death or depression or even suicide. That's not something that I am privy to shy away from, because that's just the nature of the work that I do. And so I am a licensed mental health therapist based in Memphis, Tennessee. I have my own practice. And so I primarily work with Black women and adolescent girls who are working through depression, anxiety, general traumas, as well as life transitions, right? A lot of my work has been centered around women and girls, but I also hold space for everyone, right? And so, like I said, who I cater to, who I promote my services for is Black women and girls. But it doesn't mean that I don't get other people outside of that to reach out to me and inquire about services. And so, because so many people reach out to me because I publicly talk about mental health on my platforms, people will often message me. I just had somebody this week, two people, in fact, who know me personally and are like, hey, I want you to be my therapist, or I want you to be my child's therapist, or my husband's therapist. And due to restrictions with my license, there are boundaries, and a lot of times Black folks, we just can. And so we don't always recognize the parameters that, what happens when someone is a licensed professional, that there are certain things that we can't do. And so, because I get so many people that know me and say, hey, I'm comfortable talking to you, can you be my therapist? And unfortunately, I can't often be the therapist for those people who will reach out, And so I created a directory where I can assist people with finding someone else who is a good fit for their needs, right? And a lot of times my people don't want to hear that. They don't want to hear. Listen, I got the circle back around to a friend who got a little mad at me yesterday because I was like, this is a conflict of interest, blah, blah, blah. And girl, Black folks don't want to hear nothing about that. We don't want to hear that. And
When we
so
want you to save us, that's for sure.
exactly. My friend was like, listen, I know you. I want you to talk to them. And I'm like, the fact that we having this back and forth and you on my personal phone, that's why I couldn't be the therapist for this person, because we have a personal relationship and it needs to be completely unbiased with no pre-existing history when I meet with a new client, right? I don't need you calling me and saying, so how things going with so-and-so? No, get off my line, right? So that is it's a reason why we have those boundaries. And I created a directory to help Black folks find Black therapists that may be a good fit for them besides me. Okay. So with that directory, we have Black therapists across the country. We have therapists in every state. We also have Black therapists in Canada. We have Black therapists on our website in the UK. And Europe is next, because we just had some people reach out that are in Sweden, some Black therapists in Sweden that are also wanting to join the directory. So I'm very passionate about connecting us with those resources and just helping Black people find a space, because it's just so much going on. Even in this conversation, sharing the gentleman Zeke, I believe you all introduced the brother who just recently had a loss, right? And so there's always heaviness in our individual lives, as well as the collective heaviness of being Black and the things that are happening to us collectively in this country.
And I just want to take the time out to mention Connie and Jaren are on the live, and they say hello to everybody, and they extend their condolences to you, Zeke, and your family.
Hey, Cuddy.
Hey,
Hey,
Jen,
Jared.
you're
How
so
are
great
y'all?
to you.
Thank
And
you.
I also want to mention our disclaimer here tonight. So I want to populate that disclaimer. It's a standard professional disclaimer, and the disclaimer just mentioned that in this information is shared in this live podcast is for educational and informational purposes only. Although our guest is a licensed clinical social worker, this conversation does not create a therapist-client relationship. If you are
Absolutely.
dealing with a mental health concern or crisis, please reach out to a qualified professional or contact your local emergency services in your area. Now, if you would like to establish a therapist client relationship with Miss Brown, you may contact her directly via her contact information below. And Miss Brown, you can confirm if that information below is correct.
Let me look and see what y'all working with.
Mhm.
They can reach out through their email. We ain't gonna
Okay.
make it complicated. My name already long, so we just gonna we
Okay.
gonna keep it there. They can definitely send the email to that
Okay, good.
that link.
So I just want to put that out there first before we get into the conversation. Now, Sharon, you can introduce Miss Bell. You can
Okay. Wow, y'all just giving me because okay, so I'm so excited, y'all. I don't know how to act. Miss Bell is I met Miss Bell, unfortunately. I have Eldorado people that's on my Facebook page, and I saw her daughter's face. And they was, telling us what happened. I clicked to be a Facebook friend of hers, and she accepted me. So I just started following her. When I started coming to El Dorado, Arkansas, I asked Miss Bell about if we had an organization, for us people that has lost our children through gun violence. Because I'm gonna let her tell the date, but there was several months later I lost my son. And luckily, she hooked me up with Parents Against United Youth Gun Violence, Miss Ann. And then once we circulated with Miss Ann, Miss Bell encouraged me to kind of start this little grief dance group that we got going on. What do people have for us that's really having pain in us, And because honestly, Miss Bell wear her grief so well, if you didn't know her, you wouldn't really know, because she's just the way she is, loving, concerned, firm, and but she's definitely independent grown woman. Okay. So we started the dance group, and she is our fan popper. And when she popped this fan, I don't know, it's something that goes inside of me. I get the she get the Holy Ghost. And so you guys, this is Miss Bell, and I always just call her Ashley Bell, even though that's not her name, that's her daughter's name. So I'm gonna let you introduce and pronounce your name proper.
Hello, how y'all doing?
Hello, Miss Bell. How are
Hey,
you?
woman.
Hey, my name is Joanna Bell, and I lost my child 2020, November the 21st, in gun violence. She was on her way home, walking home, and some people were shooting at each other and squirt her in her arm, and um,
And we are totally apologize and sorry for your loss. And Miss Bell did not. Let me tell y'all something. It's not easy for y'all to get people on the show, right? It's not easy. People are they don't want to discuss it. It took me a couple of weeks to ask Miss Bell, and I'm grateful that and the first thing she said is that she don't want to get emotional.
and I don't like to talk a lot. I do talk, but I don't like to talk a lot about that or whatever, because I just don't. I don't know why, but I don't. And then I'm just been beating myself up a lot and be angry and just a lot of stuff I just don't be want to talk about, because I do get an emotion. And so it's just, I don't know.
Well, if it's okay with you, Miss Bell, we want to dedicate this show to her, to Ashley. Also
Yes,
to
sir.
Zeke, to the lost in your family, and to anyone else who has lost anybody in their family. We dedicate this show entirely to them. So I had did this, and I'm going to put it up here. So this show is in dedication of Ashley Bell tonight.
Mhm.
You let us know your limitations because we don't want to put you in a space where you're uncomfortable. So you give as much as you want to give.
Yes,
Okay.
sir.
All right.
She's
Sure.
That's beautiful. Mhm. Yes, she
So
is.
we're going to get it started. If we ask something that you don't want to answer, that's perfectly fine. You don't have to
Yes,
answer.
sir.
Perfectly fine. So
Okay.
we want to respect you. And Miss Brown, you can let us know if we overstepping our boundaries and pushing you too far too.
Listen.
So Z, we're going to give you the floor. You can start off. If you have any questions for either one, you can go ahead.
I'm gonna start with Miss Brown. It's nice to meet you. We appreciate you being on the show tonight with us.
Thank
Uh,
you.
it's a blessing. Uh, I, I I don't know a whole lot about Memphis, but I've always loved Memphis. We thank you again, Pam. I just want to ask this. I see you work with you've worked with adolescents. I want to ask this: what is one just one great memorable moment that you
Mm.
had working with adolescents that just stands out with you and that lifts your spirit every time you think about it and you're in the community.
Come on, job interview questions, Zeke. That's the asking. Give me one standout
Come
moment.
on now,
Give
don't
me an example.
do-
um, So, and listen, I'm gonna let y'all know in advance. I'm very, even though I am a therapist, I'm very much meet people where they are. I'm very down to earth and casual. So I'm not going to give you a buttoned up response for any of the things. I'm very, hey girl, hey, okay. So, um, with adolescents, one of my favorite things about working with youth, I just did a consultation yesterday with a young lady who her parents signed her up for therapy, and they maybe found out the day before that, like, oh hey, log in, you got to do a consultation, right? And so one of my favorite things with working with young people is I actually enjoy the kids who don't want to come to therapy, right? Or the kids who feel like therapy is not for them, or this is not something that I need. The sassy black girl rolling her neck, you can't tell me nothing. I love seeing the transition of I don't want this, I don't need this, to Miss Pam, why you didn't call me back? Right? I love seeing that transition of this being like, okay, this is a space. Therapy is not what I thought, or I can feel comfortable. I can just relax and talk and allow those things. And for most people, not just teenagers, but most people just need a space, right? And so you may have this preconceived idea in your mind of what therapy is supposed to look like based off the media or based off of what other people have told you. But until you actually experience a therapist who is a good fit for you, emphasis on good fit for you, right? You can't really make that statement. I just saw an interview on social media actually. What's the young lady? Angel Reese.
Yeah.
Angel Reese has a podcast, right? And so she was interviewing a rapper named Mona Leo. And so in that interview, she talked about going to therapy, but saying that because of her celebrity status, she doesn't really feel that a therapist could really help her because they can't relate to the pressures or the things that she experiences as a celebrity. And she was basically expecting Mona Leo to co-sign that. And she was like, I feel like a therapist is just going to tell you what you want to hear. And so Mona Leo was like, well, I disagree. I went to premarital counseling, and therapy is the opposite of that. Like, it's challenging you, it's stretching you, it's pushing you beyond what you feel is right or correct. And she was kind of going on to share her experience, and then she asked Angel, she says, have you been? And Angel's like, no. And then she's like, well, maybe you should go, right? And so, but that brief exchange was just like, a lot of people have this idea and they will share what they think it is, and you've never experienced this for yourself, right? So to tell someone you disagree with something and you've never experienced it, so when people bring that to me in session in real time, I enjoy being able to break that thought and shift the mindset that someone has, especially young people, because you setting a fire in them and you shifting, something. I just feel like young people are more, it's easier to reach them at that age as opposed to somebody that's 65 and they're a little bit more stubborn and stuck in their ways. But I have also worked with people who were that age and were still ready to do the work. So when working with young people, it gives me a certain oomph to see that spark and to know that I am contributing to society by helping with the young minds of our future. So
Absolutely.
And
Absolutely.
Jaron says, Kiki, you're in our prayers. He also said hello to Miss Bell and Miss Bell that he loves you. Andrea Bridges says good evening to everybody.
Hey,
Hello.
Andrea. Thank you for joining our podcast. Um, Pamitra, what made you want to become a therapist? I mean, like, what a social worker? What made you say, "This is my life. This is my purpose"?
So the real answer is it was just spirit led. It was not something that was my calling that like I recognized as my calling. It's been spirit led. Freya, my mom. And so like I have been around seeing Black people in community and doing those things most of my life. My mom was very much a community person. She was an entrepreneur. She had a child care center in pretty rough neighborhood in Memphis, and I watched her do a lot of community work. And while we didn't grow up in those neighborhoods, and we would be considered middle class for how my late childhood to teenage years were, I was still very grounded in that because we were at my mama's daycare working side by side, being there, like not getting a privilege, like we were in there working, right? And so I feel like it kept me grounded, but it also laid the foundation of community work and me working with children. So I have been working with children since I was a child. It's probably too late to call labor laws, but my mama definitely had me working at her daycare center at the age of 10. Okay.
Me too.
Listen, so that was instilled in me working with children, and I'm naturally good at that, right? And so that was already there. So as I moved into my college years, I was like, I'm not working with kids. I don't want to see nothing about no children. Get away from me, because I was burnt out. My major was psychology, so I thought, and apparently I hadn't officially declared it as my major. I'm thinking that I'm a psychology major. I'm taking some psychology based courses. I get called to admissions and meet with my academic counselor, and they're telling me that they have me listed as a social worker. And I'm like, girl, what's a social worker? I don't want to work at the food stamp office. What y'all talking about? And so I'm like, AKK. And so I'm like, what are y'all referring to? And so they basically show me what they have listed for me. And I'm like, okay, well, what does that look like in terms of graduation? And they're like, basically, you're already taking courses that are in alignment with this. It's not going to add any more years to it. So I go to the social work office to get a better idea, because in my mind, I'm just thinking caseworker, right?
Right.
And so there is a difference in social services, because anybody can work in social services versus actually having your degree in social work. So I'm like, well, let me go down here and see what this means, because my view was social services only, or just working at the food stamp office. So once I go in there and I talk to the social work department, and they tell me all of the different careers and all of the different avenues that I could go under, and basically it was a little bit more broad than only doing psychology. I was like, okay, okay. How long is it gonna make me have to stay here much longer? No. And when anybody that's been in college, you like, when am I graduating? When am I graduated? And so if this is not gonna push that back and I can see career in my future, like, okay, sure. So at that point, it was not my decision to go into social work. But as I tell people often, I say, I didn't choose social work, it chose me, because I've been doing social work all my life, right? I've been a social worker. I was doing this already. And the same thing with actually deciding to take my social work license and make it actually go into mental health. That also chose me, right? I was working for the Department of Children's Services, working with kids in foster care. Graduated from University of Memphis and went into I did a program that had like an automatic job. We did an internship with not University of Memphis, with D.C.S, Department of Children's Services. And in Tennessee, it's separate. I know in some states children's services and family services or human services is one place, where food stamp office and all of that is just one place. But in Tennessee, children's services is specifically dealing with abused, neglected children, dependent children, and human services is like teen care, like insurance and, you know, Medicare and food stamps and stuff like that. They're two separate entities. So I'm working with the children's side, and decided to get my master's degree. But I got my master's degree and was still just working at, you know, I didn't get a promotion or anything. I was still working there, wasn't sure what I wanted to do with it. But my client that was on my caseload at the time, one of my clients, died by suicide. And because I worked in foster care, working in foster care, when you have a child that is a legal, that's in legal custody of the state, a ward of the state, so to speak, if you are their caseworker, you are responsible for everything, right? So essentially the state is their parent. And if you are the caseworker, you really like, you the mama, you going, you happen to like, this child gets suspended from school, you have to go clear that. If this child is in, you know, their placement in the foster home is interrupted, you have to go and find them a new. So like you're responsible for these children. And this particular child was 17. And I was very close with him because he was a cut up. So I had spent a lot of time with him because he was always getting in trouble. So I could have, you know, just got him in a new foster home. And now I'm getting called the next week, come get this boy, you know. And so it was like, I spent a lot of time with him because he was like a little baby Kevin Hart. He had smart mouth and just always cutting up, right? And so in working with Kelsey, it taught me after his passing to recognize the signs a little differently, because he was a jovial kid. He was always funny and all of that. Me being a young social worker, I wasn't able to see that or to recognize or to look deeper. And so after his passing and me having to plan the funeral, pick out the casket, all of these things, right? It was, you know, it was traumatizing for me. That was the first time I went to therapy, right? And so after that experience, I took leave from work, and I wasn't intentional, but I took leave from work because I knew that I didn't want to be in that environment anymore. Not just due to that, but it was like a series of events where I felt like this was not the environment for me. And so after I came back from my leave, I put in my notice, but before I put in my notice, I got an email asking, was I still interested in a position at a mental health hospital? I have no idea when I applied for this hospital. I can't tell you when, where, how. It may have just been on Indeed. You know how you just be clicking, send resume, send resume, send resume. But I had no idea that I applied for this. And so I'm at my desk and I get an email saying, are you still interested in the part-time therapist job? I'm like, well, yes, I am. You know, I had no idea, no plans on being a therapist. That was not my thing. But Spirit led that job to me. And so after this young man passed, my very next job was working in a mental health hospital with adolescents. So I'm working with suicidal teenagers literally right after this baby passed. That's the next place. So that's why I say my journey has been Spirit led. That was not my doing. That was not something I planned to do, but Spirit led me to that environment. So now I'm in a place to try to catch these babies before this happens, right? So I wasn't able to save him, but now I'm in an environment and I'm able to make an impact with other people's children who have battled those thoughts or who are struggling, you know, with addiction and just various things. And so that was just like very, you know, very awe-striking for me, that like, how did I end up here, right? And like, so it's just nothing but Spirit that has led my career the entire path. It's been a very unconventional journey. I would love to say, oh, I had it mapped out and it was a plan. Nope. It was Spirit led, and I believe in listening to Spirit. And so when something is sitting with me, I do move on it. So I'm a person who moves and I listen to the Spirit. And so so that is how I became a social worker, and then how I later became a therapist, because I was clicking on Indeed, I guess, in the middle of the night one night, and ended up working in a mental health hospital and just continued to push my career after that.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah.
Z? Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. Miss Bell, I
Yes,
want to
sir.
bring you. I want to bring you into the fold. Is there anything you want to share about Ashley with us? A memory about Ashley you want to share with us?
Yes, she was a loving, kind person. Never was mad about anything, and loved children. She kept a lot of kids, and the best mother to her daughter. She left a nine. Well, she's just turned 10. She left a loving daughter, and actually just was a loving person. Never got into it really with nobody. Everybody loved her, and she was just the sweetest baby.
And so, how do how do you and your daughter cope with everyday life?
We cope, me and my grandbaby, we cope good. And I got a 21-year-old. We cope very good, because God, like, he just knew what he was doing when he did it. Because he set me down. I used to be a hard head in the streets, partying and just hanging out and stuff. And then, like, 2 years before he took my child away from me, he set me down and made me pay more attention to him. And so it's like my life just turned around because he knew anyway I was still out there in the streets, partying, drinking and stuff. He knew I couldn't take it. He knew I'd be out there trying to solve it myself. And so he had to let him do it. So he set me down. So he gonna solve it for me. By me keep going to the police station and trying to get it solved, solve it. He got it. And so I just sit back and just let him keep strengthening my mind and in my soul, to get day by day. So
But what did you just say a while ago when Tamika was talking?
I said, I need her. I need to talk to her because it's like to me, she was, touching me, letting me know that some people just don't understand when a black person, like she said, roll her neck and stuff like that. People don't understand that. All the time, it just be love and somebody just trying to get you to pay more attention. That's just not ghetto. They say it's ghetto, but it's not. Because they do me the same way because at my job or whatever. See, I just started going to see a therapist over there at New Haven or whatever.
Okay.
And so, because I need it, because sometimes the way I talk and burst out or whatever, it's just anger in me, but it's all love, take it like my past and my past is gone because they see God working in me. He's still a work in progress in me. And
Mhm.
so it's getting better. And so it's going to be okay. And see, like, a while ago, I got frustrated with Sharon and I got to hug her neck because, because I wasn't meaning it like that, because my Facebook page got hacked earlier. I don't know what happened. I was on it or whatever. I seen Sharon had post that we was going to be on this tonight or whatever. Next thing I know, I was trying to go on my Facebook page. They had been suspended. Somebody had hacked my page or whatever. I was a little frustrated, but it's going to be okay.
I want to
What?
say that with that anger, that it's important to note. A lot of times we receive anger and we're like, "Oh, this person's angry, black woman." All of that. Anger is a secondary emotion, right? And so, whenever someone is approaching you in anger, or you find yourself leading with anger, I challenge you to ask yourself, "What did I feel first?" Right? Because a lot of times it may be, maybe it's hurt, maybe it's pain, maybe it's embarrassment. A lot of times with men, there will be, we accept anger as an emotion that's normal for men, but it could be, another emotion that's not as accepted that they initially felt, right? So I may have felt shame, I may have felt embarrassed, sad, but I don't want to share that. And so it's going to come across as anger or aggression, would be the next level of it. But recognizing that that's not the first thing you felt, that's not the first emotion that you felt. So as a therapist, when somebody is approaching me, especially in a therapy setting with anger, I'm going to challenge and push back, like not run from that, but what are you really feeling? What else is there? What other emotion is beyond that anger? And so from what you're sharing, you're coming through with anger, but it's pain.
Yeah.
It's
Mhm.
pain, and that's on the surface, but we're not comfortable, crying at work. We're not comfortable doing these things. So it's coming across as irritability, right? So I'm irritable because nobody better not say nothing else to me because they better be glad I even came in this thing, right? They better be glad I showed up today. And so somebody, she got one more time, right? And so I'm frustrated, but I'm not even frustrated at her. I'm hurt. I'm hurt that this is what my reality is. So I'm walking on eggshells and just wishing them would say something to me. And then I'm blowing up and I'm allowing my frustration to come out in another way because I have not really set and processed my feelings because we're taught to just move forward. get better, tighten. You so strong. We taught to push forward and just put a band-aid on it when you still bleeding.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Hey Zeke, I'm still concerned about you. How you doing over there?
Good, doing good. I'm just blessed to be here in the midst.
Yeah. Hey Veronica. Hey KK. How y'all doing? Thanks for joining the live.
Hey V. Hey KK. Who else? Did I see somebody else say something? And thank you
Hey
for
guys,
posting.
Yeah.
Tamitra
Andrea,
there.
Miss Bridges, Andrea Bridges. She's joined the live as well.
thank
Okay.
you all.
And if anybody in viewing watching have any questions that you want to ask, just put them in the chat and I will populate them for you. And so we want to try to service everybody tonight.
Absolutely. Zeke, you got any questions?
Absolutely. I just got one more right now for Miss Brown. I see one of your expertise is relationship issues. Do you more or less sometimes see that when you're when you're when you're speaking to one of your people that it and being therapeutic that it starts speaking to you also, that you know what I'm saying, that your message is hitting you.
Oh, you mean like if I'm in a session with a
Yeah.
client, is it like, oh,
Yes.
this? Absolutely, because like
Yes.
beyond being a therapist, I'm a person, right? I'm a
Absolutely.
woman. I am a caregiver for my mom. I have clients where sometimes, and that's a thing. So you want to make sure that when someone has something that, and this goes both ways for the client as well as the therapist, you want to make sure that, like I shared earlier about not being biased in session. So say for example, I have a client who is a caregiver to her mom, right? And so depending on where I am, I have to assess, am I okay in my journey as
Absolutely.
a caregiver to be able to hold space for her and not make this about me? Because this ain't about
Absolutely.
me. This is her journey.
Absolutely.
And so what may or may not work for my family is different from hers. And so it's very intentional with me, like making sure that I self-check and that I am not projecting, right? Because at the end of the day, I am still a human, right? And my caregiver struggle has, my journey has been very intense, right? And so there are times where it's like, okay, hold on, let me tell my client, we're gonna have to push the session back a little bit because I need to de-escalate on my own, or I need to check
Absolutely.
in with myself. So it's definitely a thing. And even going deeper sometimes, and this, my mind is a little foggy, it's been a long day, but there is a particular phrase that we use when we talk about, let's say a client may see you and you remind them of their auntie, right?
Mm.
And I love this therapist because she just remind me of my auntie. And so that could be a good thing, but it could also be a bad thing because now you are putting additional pressures on this relationship and you are expecting me to hold you in the same capacity that your aunt did, when that is not what this relationship is. I'm not going to sweet sugar baby you like your auntie did, right? And so it can also be a bad thing because you may not want to come to me as a therapist because I remind you of that auntie that molested you, right?
Absolutely.
And so now you have to make sure that you are not transference. That's the term, transference. You're not transferring energy. And it can also be a
Absolutely.
romantic thing too, where you have not had a person that you can connect with before or identify with, and your therapist is the first person to see you, right?
Mm.
That
Yes.
therapist is
Come on
the
now.
first person to
Come on
listen
now.
to me. And so, as a woman or man client, I can romanticize that and make the relationship more than it is, as opposed to this person's just doing their job. But I'm sitting here like, man, my therapist, no, they love me. I saw the way they looked at me, and depending on what issues you're bringing to therapy, if you have like a type of personality disorder, that's a very real thing, right? So making sure that you as the therapist are assessing those boundaries, and if it gets to a point where this person has started fantasizing and they've shared that they think this is a real thing that happens in therapy, right? Where people start having romantic feelings for their therapist. And so at that point, as the therapist, I'm probably going to have to transfer you to someone else if we are
Yes.
not able to address it. But I still have to handle it with care because I don't want to cause harm. We have a duty to cause no
Absolutely.
harm, right? So even the therapist, like, am I able to check my feelings? So transference and then counter transference, where the therapist is now projecting emotions onto this person. So that takes a lot of therapists doing their own work, right?
Absolutely.
A lot of helpers don't do the work for themselves because you are a giver and you're so busy showing up for other people that you neglect yourself most times, right?
Right.
And so for me, I'm gonna use myself as an example today. I had 3 clients that end up canceling today. And instead of moving people from tomorrow, I got a full long day, right? And so typically I might would have called or text that client like, hey, I have some openings. Do you want to move over there? I was like, you know what? This is gonna be a self-care Tuesday. When I say I've been bipping and bopping all day long, I've been bipping and bopping. You know, I done got a massage. I went to the sauna. I went and rode a bike at the park. Like I was out doing the things, and that's outside of the norm for me on a Tuesday, on a working day, to not say, let me move some clients around and do that. But it was necessary. It was necessary today. And so it's important for you to make sure that you are doing your own work as a healer, because you don't want to have those emotions transferred to other people. You mad at your man and somebody talking about their relationship and you start, so it's important to do your own work regardless of the capacity. Do your own work and make sure that you are debriefing after sessions.
Right.
Do you have a process of doing your own deep breathing and all of that? So anytime a therapist tells you they don't go to therapy or they don't believe in it for themselves, run.
Right.
Run. Because what are we doing? How you selling me something? How you gonna sell me a product that you don't believe in?
Exactly.
Absolutely. I comment, Anthony, can you read them?
Sure. KK states that Pam is definitely divinely guided in her ministry. She says she love you to life.
That's my auntie. Hey, girl.
Veronica, she states that, hey, I'm good. Thank you guys so much for this. I appreciate your transparency, Joanna, and your ministry, Pamitra. This is from Veronica Smith Creer.
Thank
you,
you.
ma'am.
Thanks, Veronica.
And kind of, we need more people like you, Miss Pam, down this way in El Dorado. So, kind of, more people like you.
El Dorado, that's Arkansas. That's in Arkansas.
Yes, it
Yes,
is.
it is.
Okay.
Sound like that.
It sounds like Texas. No, because I was thinking El Dorado kind of gave Texas. Is there not a Texas, El Dorado, Texas? No, I made that up.
No.
You made that up.
Okay, listen, I tend to do that. But
it's a car.
Yeah, this is the other side. This ain't El Dorado. This is El Dorado.
El Dorado. Okay. What is it? What is it near?
Not to be confused.
What is it near?
Fordyce. We're like 2 hours from Little Rock.
Okay.
South.
Okay. I'm scared of
Have
Little Rock.
Have you heard of Camden, Arkansas?
I feel like I've heard of Camden, Missouri.
Can't stand you. Oh Lord. Oh my God. I love you. Okay, let's go. What about?
I know Little Rock. Y'all can stop at Little Rock.
Yeah.
Listen, I'm still traumatized from the special gangbanging in Little Rock that came out as a child. Yeah. I was a child and I was living in Memphis with all the gangs, but I didn't see it on TV. So that just goes to show you how media, really changes our mindset. To this day, I'm like, baby, I ain't stopping in Little Rock. They're gonna get me because of the impact that documentary had on me as a child, right? It was very real. And again, I was living in Memphis with gangs everywhere, but that wasn't my reality in Memphis. I wasn't in those environments. So seeing that and the violence of what was portrayed, if y'all seen it, y'all all saw this documentary. Yeah. So I never forget them young ladies getting jumped in, and I was like, they gonna hit the girls too. Oh my God. So it stuck, but that just goes to show you that trauma stays in the brain, right? So when we have these experiences in our life that happen to us, trauma is not the event, right? So trauma is not that I was sexually assaulted or that I was abandoned or I was abused. Trauma is the impact that this has on me, because I might feel that a traumatic experience for me was a car accident. I might feel that a traumatic experience was my parents separating, my boyfriend breaking up with me, whereas somebody else's trauma may have been being sexually abused, right? but the impact of what it had on me is what categorizes. You might see siblings that grew up in the same house with the same two parents, and they have two completely different perspectives on what has happened, and they have very different responses to what has happened, right? Because people process things differently. So it may have seemed like no big deal. If you ever talk to your sibling, you like, you don't remember that time mama did such and such, and they like, I don't remember. And you're like, oh my God, how do you not remember? Because it really impacted you. But for your
Right.
sibling, it was just another Wednesday, right?
Yeah.
So the trauma is the impact that it has on you, not the actual event. So never try to categorize it for others or try to defend like, oh, this happened so many years ago. You ought to be over that, right? Losing your child, that's something that's going to stick with you. That doesn't change, that doesn't go away. But how you carry it can go, can shift, right? But you are not the same person. So to say I just want to go back to you will never be that person again, because before this event happened, you were able to get up and go and hug that baby, right? You were a person who had these amount of living children. You had a husband in the other room, whoever it was that you lost. You are never going to be the same, but you can shift your mindset around, how do I become what this looks like? How do I move forward and learn to carry this so that it's not debilitating for me? Right? So that this grief does not become debilitating. I'm not able to focus. I'm snapping on everybody at work. I'm isolating, and now I'm in a depression, right? And I'm not able to function or focus at all. And so now that grief is just stricken me and preventing me from any quality of life.
I'm a person of transparency. Miss Bridges, thanks for the correction. She said there is an El Dorado, Texas.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Andrea.
Thank you, Miss Bridges.
See, I knew I didn't.
I stand corrected.
Because El Dorado is like, that sounds like a Mexican name. That's the
It
El
is.
Dorado.
It
in
is.
Texas, Mexico.
Yeah, I just wanted to put my 2 cents in. I was just messing around.
Shout out to Miss Bridges. Thank you.
Yeah, she also said
Absolutely.
blessings to each of you.
Double
God
shout out.
continue blessing upon each of y'all. Thank you, Miss Bridges.
Thank you, Miss
Thank you,
Bridges.
friend.
Thank you, and even for coming in. Oh wow! So,
Jaren
Miss
said you are
Bell,
awesome and very informative. Pam.
Thank you.
thank you,
I'm
thank
gonna
you,
look at
Jaren, and
how
that's the
it's
fact.
actually Pametria.
Pametria.
Pametria. I know, forget like Pam, because I went by Pam for years. My mother is Pam. I never really liked the name Pam. For me, I feel like it gave old lady vibes, right? But and maybe because my mama was Pam, so she was a grown woman, right? And so as a child with a long name, I've always been outspoken, but there was a part of me that was frustrated with having to correct people all the time. So when I was in about the 10th grade, I had a teacher who refused to say my name correctly. And so she would call me Pam or Pammy. And I was like, it's Pametria. Okay, Pam, Etria. And I was like, Flowers, it's not my name. And so eventually I buckled and I just stopped fighting it. And everybody just started calling me Pam. So from 10th grade until probably the age of 30, I introduced myself as Pam in professional settings. So most people in personal settings, I just stopped bothering with saying Pametria. If you knew me, from school, you knew that was my name, that was fine. But I did not introduce myself as Pametria. But probably about 10 years ago, I rebranded and I was like, y'all finna get all these black syllables. And to make it worse, I'm gonna add my long middle name too. So Pametria Dominice is like the brand that I go by. That's my middle name. And it really is about me owning who I am and not shrinking myself for other people.
Yes.
So I'm really big on acknowledging other people's name. And like if somebody say they got a long name, I'm going to try to give space to honor your name and correcting people too, because for so long I went by a name that I wasn't even comfortable with. Now, not to a point where I'm going to be like, don't call me Pam. But when I introduce myself and I'm in a professional space, I do say, like, I put this on there, and unless I give you like, okay, yeah, it's cool to say that. But you're going to at least attempt to say these long black names.
Absolutely.
You're going to do it.
Absolutely. I run into the same thing, Demetria.
Listen.
With my name. So I understand, believe me. And you find yourself dumbing yourself down. And lately I've been saying no. And it's got different ethnicities of people. I say no. My name is Zico Moldawan.
Come
Say
on,
it.
come
Say
on.
it with me. Say it with me now.
Como. I like that. It sounds
Yeah.
very powerful, actually. I like that.
Yes. Yes. But
Okay.
yes.
So it is power in our names. Now if it's a name that you're not comfortable with, because some of us got names our parents gave us and we hate
It's
them.
true. It's
And
true.
so, we can shift that, we can mold that. But again, with finding your own space and feeling comfortable with yourself, right? So not molding to fit what anybody else's idea of what this should look like. What should my grief look like? We are very judgmental. We will talk about, oh, they didn't even cry at the funeral.
Mm.
And so you cannot guide somebody else's grief journey of what it's supposed to look like. Different cultures have some cultures, Indian cultures and Mexican cultures have like a month-long celebration of life, right? They may bury the body quickly, but they're doing multiple things, right? And so in America, we're with this like, okay, let's get it done. You get 3 days off of work and get your butt back in there, wipe your face,
Right.
and let's go, right? And so that's not realistic. And so then it makes you feel like, well, what's wrong with me that I'm back at work and I'm supposed to be back in the groove? I just lost my baby 2 weeks ago. And now I'm sitting here asking somebody, can I, are you done with the copy machine? Like,
Mm.
what?
Yeah.
The idea that I'm supposed to get back in the fold quickly, is just not realistic. And it makes you feel like something's wrong with me in my journey because I'm not healing quick enough. Right? Healing is a journey. It is not a one-stop destination. So when people tell you like, oh, I've healed from that, I use the example of like, let's say you had an injury to your leg, right? And you had to have surgery on your leg. And so you have recovered. But if you fall and hit that knee, it's gonna be a little more tender, right? Because that spot has been bruised. That spot is tender and fragile. So while it may not be the same intensity that it was when you first injured it, it still needs to be handled with care. It still needs to be handled with care. And so the
Absolutely.
same thing when we have an emotional wound or emotional scar, it's still gonna be there, and we're not trying to erase it and make it like, oh, this never happened. That's not going to be there. You're going to always feel that, but the intensity of the pain can shift, right? But the other thing about grief is recognizing, people talk about the stages. Listen, it's no order. It can happen. It can come and go, crisscross applesauce. Anyway, you could be at a place of acceptance, and then the next day you might be in denial that this is even your reality and that this even happened, right? So don't judge it based off of anyone else. I think both of you ladies mentioned that you all are in a support group, and that's absolutely good. But sometimes if you feel that their support group is overwhelming, it's okay to step back a little bit too, because sometimes when you're trying to hold space for other people's grief, it may overwhelm you when you are still working through your own.
Absolutely.
So groups can be very helpful, but also make sure that you are checking in with yourself to afterwards to decompress and make sure that this is okay for me to carry, because I'm not responsible for someone else's journey when I'm still working through my own.
Okay, Pamitra, and thank you for that one, but we're in a dance group.
Oh,
And so
okay.
we just come, we haven't even talked to each other about our pains. We just come
Oh,
and
okay.
dance and
Oh, I know
now
you
they'll
be
catch
cutting
me.
up. I know you be cutting up in the dance group, girl. I know you be.
Yeah, we do.
Yes.
But they allow me to cry. I could cry. I could shout. We allow us to do those things. But unless someone wants
Healing.
to share, yeah, unless we wants to share, we're strictly trying to just heal and sweat and whatever we done done. Because like you said, we wake up angry a lot. I wake up angry a lot, but I don't want to take it out on anyone else. So I'm always correcting myself and making sure I'm doing a self check on myself. Because even though I project a lot of love, like you said, a lot of people don't know what we're going through when we first wake up and we're saying, am I responsible for my son's death? Or I could have done something better, or blah, 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 blah. And like I was fixing to ask you, have they even had any updates on the case, or did they just cold cut the case? Or so that's something totally different too.
Right.
No,
When it's
like
a
they,
criminal, and when
no,
it's a
like
criminal
they just
situation,
told
that
you.
adds additional layers for sure.
You said they did what?
Look like they just looked right over it and nothing about it, and just like it just
Like she disappeared.
yeah, like she'll be back, and she won't be.
Wow.
I hope Aldereta is listening, and I sure hope Aldereta is hearing this podcast, and I definitely would share it because we don't think that Ashley Bell. Can we all say her name?
Ashley
Ashley.
Bell.
Ashley Bell.
So,
Ashley Bell.
She has a right to be remembered. That shouldn't be a cold case.
No,
mm,
not at all. And that was one of my questions also, Joanna. Did the community has the community stepped out and did what they need? You know what I'm saying? Did they grasp and are they what exactly did they do? Did you have any help or sounds like my
mm,
answer is no, just listening to you. I mean,
no.
What about victim
nothing.
assistance?
Victor Assistance, they told me to keep going up there. What I mean, Victor Assistance, they paid for her funeral and stuff. They did that. I was
Mhm,
appreciated with that
mhm.
or whatever. And then they told me to like keep going up there and report and just keep going and keep going. By me keep going and going, they still not doing anything. And so it's like to me, it's a waste of time. Keep going up there and they're not trying to solve anything.
Mm,
Mm, mm.
okay.
Kamitra, go ahead.
And then they acting like they said they know who did it, but by them like arresting anyone for it or whatever, they haven't. But the dude they said did it, he is incarcerated, but he has not been charged for anything.
Okay.
Okay.
Wow. I know that we only have like 4 minutes. I mean, I'm a little upset, Anthony. What you think? It's been so fast now. I'm not ready for it to end.
I'm not either.
We got, we got 3 minutes. We got to tell y'all about some events that's coming up. But Pupmetria. Oh God, Pupmetria.
Uh, uh,
Huh.
uh.
What can you say to us to encourage us, not only just for us that have to get up every day, daily with our loss, but even during the holiday season?
Definitely know that those emotions are more intense through the holidays. I think it's important to first be okay with recognizing that I am going to feel heavier. This is not something that we just move past. This is not something to get over quickly. This is feel your feelings, right? Allow yourself to feel those emotions without any judgment. We might feel confusion, we might feel rage, we might feel shock, relief, any of those things. Feel your feels, sit in those emotions. It's important to visit all of the feelings. I like to tell my clients that we visit them, but we don't move in. Right. So you visit those emotions, you sit with them, give space for them, but don't overstay your welcome. You don't want to be the person that's like, oh, what y'all about to get into? Move to the next one, right? So
Right.
go through the full range of those emotions. And when we find that we're stuck in one too long, we need to move. Right. We need to give ourselves time. That means we need to switch up the routine. Maybe I need to be around some other people, giving yourself permission to still find joy. Right. And that's a thing. We might feel guilty because how could I be out here
Absolutely.
enjoying life when my baby's case hasn't even been solved? Right. This person has gotten off. How dare I smile? How dare I laugh? How dare I enjoy the company of someone else? Right. How dare I just go on and have a day and not be angry about what has happened to my baby? Right? Giving yourself permission to still be present, give yourself permission to still be whole, even though that is still a part of you and it's still something. So it's okay to compartmentalize and say, you know what, today I'm going to choose joy. Tomorrow I'm going to get back and focus on this case. But today I'm going to go out and I'm going to dance. And I'm gonna twerk. I'm gonna do some African dance. I'm gonna laugh. I'm gonna sing. I might get tipsy. I might have some adult time, whatever it is that I want to do. I'm going to give myself that space to just be and enjoy that. And then tomorrow, I might start my day with honoring my baby, right? Find
Absolutely.
new ways to create memories like you all are doing now, talking about it, being able to encourage someone else through speaking, but recognizing that if you're not ready to talk, that's also okay. Right? This is your journey and not letting anybody else navigate what that experience is supposed to look like for you. I'm a person, I like acronyms. I like to always leave people with acronyms. And so my acronym for grief is giving yourself permission to feel, right? Don't suppress it. Feel your feels. So feel your feels, okay? R is for reaching out for support, right? When we are feeling those feels and we recognize that this particular thing is feeling too heavy for me, maybe I have certain people who are already in rotation. If they know, if I send a 911 text, they know that they need to check in on me. I've been too quiet. So-and-so knows that, like, if I'm too quiet for too long, they need to come pull me out of their darkness. Okay. So reaching out for support. I is identifying your needs, right? Because we might say we want people to support us, but what does their support look like for you? Because how I need support may be completely different from how you need support. So maybe their support looks like somebody to come cook or just bring over some meals because I don't have the energy to cook for the babies that are still in my home, right? So I may have other children that I'm still responsible for. Maybe their support means just coming and sitting in silence with me. Maybe their support means sending me funny videos so I can laugh. Send me some funny, ridiculous TikTok videos so I can laugh and stuff. So thinking about what are your needs, how can your friends or loved ones show up for you? So I is identify. E is engage in self-care, right? Again, we talked about finding joy, doing the things that still make me smile, things that feel good to my body, feel good to my mind, feel good to my spirit, okay? Without the guilt. And F is for finding meaning, finding a new meaning for this person's for this loss, right? Finding a new meaning for your life, right? What is my mission? A lot of people like to set up organizations in honor of their loved one. Maybe I want to get a mural painted or have some paintings in the house so that other generations, I think you mentioned your daughter had a daughter, right? And so being able to honor those memories and find new ways to create fun things or new things to do for her mother in honor of her mother. So finding a new meaning and creating new memories despite them not physically being here, whether it's we do, of course we do a candle or we have an altar for this person, just do new ways to still honor them. I definitely believe in calling people's names and, making sure that while they're in spirit world, they still know that we are thinking of them and that they are not forgotten. So again, give yourself permission, reach out for support, identify your needs, engage in self-care, and find new meaning.
Wow.
I put that in the comments.
We love you. Anthony, can you hit us up with the people that's done said something before we have to go? Man, I don't want to go.
Mhm.
Yes, I can. We have, let's go to it. Connie. They're back to the pronunciation of your names and stuff. Connie said that, well, I have it bad. If I can't pronounce your name correct, I will give you a name I can remember.
You better make sure you got permission to do that, because you better make sure you got permission to ask that person to call them.
She got a whole last name folks can't hardly pronounce. Oswella.
Oswella. Listen,
yeah.
You ask that person if it's okay, because I have been on business calls or meetings or whatever, and I say it's Pametria. Oh, I'm just gonna call you Pam. Who you talking to? Who you talking to, girl? Who you talking to? You gonna call me what I told you. You can ask me, is it okay if I call you Pam?
Exactly.
That's one thing, but you telling me.
Yeah.
That's
I don't know.
And thank you, Andrea, for giving me grace. She said, "You're welcome." I know she's been there before to El Dorado, Texas. Veronica
She's also been in grief because she had lost her husband and some sort. So I don't know if she meant by both of them, but I was acknowledging the both. That I do know that because she also comes to the grief dance class as well.
Okay. Veronica Smith Chris said it's my last name that people mess up.
We're not doing this. Keep going.
And Jerry, going back to healing, Jerry said, I always say we're healing and never healed.
Absolutely.
Very good, Jan. It's true. It's true.
And Miss Bridges said it was my first name to Miss Creer. It was my first name, and your pastor is one of the main ones that does it, and he was my teacher in school.
Oh my God.
Names. I mean, you got the whole clan talking about people's names. and I'm mayor 2020. I mean, she was our first Black female mayor, and we're gonna close it out on that one. But her name was. I'm not doing that. Let's go. We're not doing that, Veronica. We're not doing it.
Next one is Veronica said, yes, honey, and Joanna is going to pop.
And,
Can we? I should have brought it in here.
yeah, Veronica said she's so disappointed in the system. She said, also say, I feel how you feel when you feel it.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Mm. Thanks,
And
Veronica.
give yourself permission.
That's me doing the acronym. I meant to put it all in one, but it broke each letter down. But I think this will be on y'all's page so people can catch the replay and see
Yeah.
that later.
Yeah. R is for reach out. I is identify. Yeah. E is engage. F is for find new meaning, ways to create a new memories.
And Anthony, we did have some events that's coming up, but I don't think that any of them is going to bypass before we have our next podcast. So it's okay.
You want to wait on those?
Yes, please.
Okay, that's
I
fine.
got a quick question before we
Put them
get
in the
out of here.
comments. Put y'all events and stuff in y'all comments so people can still know. Let people know now.
We will. I just like
Exactly.
because I
Tell
like.
them, Pametria.
Let the people know.
For sure. Pametria, quick question.
Mhm.
Out of your books and journals, is there? I know you're mostly women about women. Is there one that the man could be man friendly?
The anxiety journal is unisex for sure.
Got it.
That
Okay.
can be utilized for. I have male clients too. I would like to say I got male clients, I got white clients, I got Hispanic clients. But
Gotcha.
who I like, when you see like this background that y'all see when my clients log in, this is what they see when they coming in here, right? This is my pair.
Okay.
Ain't no green screen. It's black as hell up in here, right? And so that is the name of my practice. My private practice is called RBG, which is representing brown girls mental health and wellness, right? So that anybody that signs up who is not a brown girl, my Hispanic lady's like, well, I'm brown, I'm Hispanic. Okay, come on, girl. As long as you are okay in that, I have created a space where I don't have to code switch, and I love that for me. I love that for me, that I don't have to code switch at work. And
Absolutely.
so, but my anxiety journal is definitely something, and I'll put my link to my website. I put the website for anybody looking for a therapist in general, the Black Therapist Matter website where you can shop for a therapist. But on my personal website, I have definitely products mainly centered for women and children, but I do have the guided anxiety journal that is for anyone. I think I got one. Oh, yes, I do. So it looks like this. It's Stop and Smell the Roses.
Okay.
And so, that is a guided anxiety journal for anybody that is working through those anxious emotions.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank y'all.
Now, Sherry, did you want to just touch bases on those events that's coming up, even though we will have another show coming up before they happen? You want to take, since we're on, you want to mention those?
Only is because it's Parent United. I love them. It's their drive, and it's a Christmas drive, isn't it? Something for Christmas for children. It is going to be on December the 15th at 1 p.m. at Maddox Park. So we do have an event on December the 2nd that we also will be with the Parent United, and we will be announcing it again.
Okay.
We also have the Christmas dinner drive. Join Black Marriage Movement and Second to None Motorcycle Club on Saturday, December the 13th for a drive-through Christmas dinner giveaway on the parking lot of Laney's Collision Center from 11 to 2 or until food is gone. Only car occupants will be served. No extra plizzades.
And Miss Bell, before we do close out, do you or Miss Brown have anything you guys want to say in closing?
No, sir. But Miss Brown, I need to reach out to you, honey.
I got you.
Yes,
I'm gonna make sure y'all link up.
Which my email and everything I believe is in the comments.
Yeah.
Now I would like to give the disclaimer that I'm based in Tennessee, so I'm licensed in Tennessee. So I don't have a license in Arkansas. But I do have Black therapists that I could possibly connect you with if that is specifically what you're looking for. But I do host groups, in-person groups, but my practice is virtual. But I do host in-person groups for women currently. And I think in January I'm probably going to lead a intensive anxiety group. And there will be, I don't know if it's gonna be Unit 6. I don't know. Y'all might be in there trying to cope, but we'll see. We'll see. It's the difference when you start mingling and stuff with groups, it gets a little interesting. So I have to see about mixed gender.
We trying anyway. Go ahead and try it, and then you just across the bridge. You might as well go and try the Arkansas license. I'm just advocating for us Arkansas.
Listen, that's why I created the directory so that I can help people find what you need, because I can't be everything to everybody. I believe in my own boundaries. So, but in the meantime, I definitely, you can definitely reach out, and I can try to assist you as best as I can.
Thank you.
Well, I believe most likely Joanna probably would go along with me. You're probably worth the trip to Memphis.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? It's probably worth the trip.
So you can book your appointment, Zeke?
No, we're not going there.
And I also wanted to share with people tonight. We were supposed to do our Thanksgiving giveaway. We were changing it to Thursday because we had a show booked for Thursday, but the guy canceled because he has another engagement that just came up, and it's in his realm of work that he does. So we won't be able to do that giving, but everybody that's in the chat, in the comments today, we will take your name and put it in the drawing, and then we will contact you and let you know about the $50 giveaway gift card. So I just want to let people know about that a Monkey River Thorn, I just got that. It's when I signed on today. I just got it right before the podcast went live. So that kind of thought we were going to do it on Thursday. So I just want people to know that we're still going to do it. So we will just take the people's name from here and we'll contact you. So if anybody that's viewing now, if you put your email address in the comments, that way we can contact you for the giveaway, I would appreciate it. I think I know a lot of people that's in here, so I can.
Well, first of all, I need to make sure if they did what they supposed to have done, because as us people, we don't done what we done.
Well, no, they did not do it. A lot of them did not do it like that, but we're not going to go on that right now. I'm breaking the rules tonight.
Okay, you can do that.
This next week, and I want to go. I want to give it. So we'll be, more, strict on that the next giveaway. But if everybody put their email address in the comments, then we'll do that tonight, and I will contact the person who wins.
Okay, so, we can do that.
Right. Okay. So Zeke, you have anything you want to say before we close out?
Just want to say thank you to ladies. We appreciate you coming on. Appreciate your time. Pametria, great works. Keep up the great work. And being great on purpose. Joanna, hey, God's got us. Just keep your hand in God's hand, and we're gonna make it. You know where I am. J.A.Z.S Chronicles. Hey, anything you need, anything in our reach, we'll help you out. Let's go.
Yeah. Thank you.
Sharon.
I'm blessed for the both of you guys. And I'm grateful and honored for everybody.
So as we come to a close on tonight's conversation, we want to extend our deepest gratitude to our guests, to Ms. Bell, who shared her story. Thank you for your strength, your transparency, and your willingness to let us into such a personal and painful part of your life. Ashley's memory lives through your voice, and tonight we honor her. To Ms. Brown, professionally and socially, we thank you for helping us understand the layers of grief, trauma, and healing. Your insight reminds us that while the pain is real, support and resources are available for those walking this difficult path. Absolutely. To our viewers, we appreciate you for creating a space of empathy, respect, and reflection. Conversation like this matters because they bring awareness, they build community, and they remind us that no one has to suffer in silence. As we approach the Thanksgiving holiday, let us hold space for those grieving, those hurting, those navigating the empty seats at the table. Let us lead with compassion, check with one another, and continue speaking out against senseless violence in our communities. Tonight wasn't just about loss, it was about love, legacy, and hope that comes when we support one another. Thank you guys for tuning in. Thank you for caring. Thank you for being a part of this community. Until the next time, stay safe, stay encouraged, and stay connected. Thank you guys.
Thank you guys. I love you.
Blessed Thanksgiving.
Happy holidays.
Happy holidays.